Imagine a cosmic dance where everything that exists, light and shadow, love and fear, creation and destruction, is orchestrated by a single universal truth. Today we will explore that truth, the law of polarity. This is no mere philosophical concept, nor a simple metaphor for duality. It is a fundamental principle that shapes the very structure of reality, influencing everything from the forces of nature to the deepest aspects of the human mind. But what does this law truly mean? And more importantly, how does understanding it unlock the hidden mechanics of existence? Prepare to dive into the fourth Hermetic principle and uncover how it governs both the seen and the unseen, shaping the universe in ways most have never imagined. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. These words from the Kybalion form the foundation of the law of polarity, the fourth Hermetic principle, a law that reveals one of the deepest truths of existence. Everything that exists in this universe is structured upon two opposing yet complementary forces: hot and cold, light and darkness, expansion and contraction, order and chaos, good and evil. These forces are not enemies locked in eternal struggle. They are two expressions of the same current, coexisting to create balance, motion, and transformation. Just as day and night define each other, opposites do not exist in isolation. They depend on each other for meaning. But the law of polarity extends beyond the physical world. It governs our emotions, our consciousness, and even our spiritual evolution. Can we recognize happiness without first knowing sorrow? Can we understand courage without having faced fear? Can we truly see the light if we have never stood in darkness? These are not coincidences. They are reflections of a fundamental design woven into the very fabric of reality. Understanding this law is not merely an intellectual exercise. It is the key to navigating life, mastering emotions, and unlocking hidden truths about the universe. But how do we move between these polarities without being controlled by them? The answer lies in the law of vibration, the force that determines where we fall on the spectrum between these poles, and that we will uncover next. The law of polarity is not just a theoretical principle, it is a force that permeates every aspect of existence, shaping our experiences, emotions, and even the most mundane aspects of daily life. Consider something as simple as preparing a meal. We apply heat to raw food, transforming it into something edible. This interaction between heat, positive polarity, and cold, negative polarity, allows for transformation. Without this polarity, food would remain either raw or burned. Only balance allows for ideal creation. But polarity is not limited to physical processes. It governs our thoughts, our emotions, and even the structure of society itself. Look at the political and social structures throughout history. Every system is composed of opposing ideologies: progressivism and conservatism, chaos and order, change and stability. These forces may seem to be in constant conflict, but in truth, both are necessary for balance. When one extreme dominates completely, the system either becomes rigid or spirals into chaos. It is through the tension between opposites that society evolves. The interaction between polarities fuels discussion, innovation, and transformation. Nowhere is the law of polarity more evident than within human emotions. Love expands, it unites, connects, and elevates. Fear contracts, it isolates, divides, and drives us into survival mode. These forces are not merely opposites, they are two sides of the same energy, flowing between one another like a pendulum. This is why the greatest spiritual transformation occurs when one learns to transmute fear into love, chaos into clarity, suffering into wisdom. But how can we consciously shift between these poles? How can we navigate the dance of opposites rather than being controlled by them? To answer that, we must understand the law that governs movement between these polarities, the law of vibration, and that is what we will explore next. The law of polarity manifests most powerfully in the realm of human emotions. Here we do not simply observe opposites, we live them. Love and fear, joy and sorrow, passion and apathy. These are not static forces. They oscillate like a pendulum, constantly shifting between poles. And yet, few realize that these emotions are not truly separate. They are simply different degrees of the same energy. The hidden connection between love and fear. Love expands. It dissolves barriers, fosters unity, and aligns us with something greater than ourselves. Fear contracts, it isolates, builds walls, and pushes us into survival mode. One liberates, the other imprisons, but both are expressions of the same force, just at different frequencies. Throughout history, mystics and alchemists have taught that the greatest transformation is not the elimination of fear, but its transmutation into love. This is the ultimate alchemy, the return to unity, the alignment with the divine principle that governs all things, the fire of passion and hatred. Just as love and fear exist on the same spectrum, so too do passion and hatred. Both carry intensity, a fire that can create or destroy. Hatred repels, seeks to annihilate, and burns everything in its path. Passion attracts, seeks to create, and fuels new beginnings. They are not separate forces, they are the same energy, directed in opposite ways. The law of polarity and the cycle of life, everywhere in nature, we see the eternal interplay between opposites. Life and death. A tree sheds its leaves in autumn, only to be reborn in spring. Expansion and contraction. The universe itself pulses, oscillating between phases of growth and collapse. Gain and loss. Nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed, moving between polarities. To deny one side of polarity is to deny half of existence. True wisdom is found not in resisting one pole, but in understanding how to navigate both. And in daily life, we are constantly faced with choices between polarities. To wake early or sleep longer. To act with courage or retreat in fear. To seek knowledge or remain in ignorance. Every decision we make is an interaction between opposites, a movement along the spectrum of polarity. But the question remains, if polarity governs our thoughts, emotions, and choices, then what is the force that moves us between these poles? The answer lies in the law of vibration, the force that dictates where we exist along these spectrums and how we can shift them at will. That is what we will uncover next. The law of polarity is not just a spiritual concept. It is embedded in the very fabric of the universe. From the smallest atomic structures to the vast cosmic forces that govern galaxies, polarity is the foundation upon which all things exist. At the core of all matter lies the atom, and within it, we find the perfect manifestation of polarity. Protons, positive charge. The stabilizing force concentrated in the nucleus, giving structure and order. Electrons, negative charge. The dynamic force orbiting the nucleus, generating movement and energy. Without this electrical polarity, atoms would not bind together to form molecules, and molecules would not form the physical world. It is this interplay of opposites that gives rise to everything we see, touch, and experience. But polarity does not stop at atomic structures. It is the driving force behind every interaction in the universe. One of the most profound examples of polarity in science lies in electromagnetic waves, which form the foundation of light, heat, radio signals, and even biological processes. Every electromagnetic wave consists of two opposing fields: an electric field, positive, negative charge, and a magnetic field, north-south polarity. These fields oscillate in perfect balance, creating the waves that allow energy to travel through space. It is the interplay between these polarities that makes it possible for us to see light, hear sound, and even use modern technology. Every radio transmission, Wi-Fi signal, and satellite communication depends on the law of polarity. The very devices we use daily operate on principles rooted in Hermetic wisdom. But beyond science and technology, polarity is also the hidden force behind consciousness, perception, and even the way we experience time itself. If polarity is the structure of reality, then what is the force that moves energy between these poles? What dictates where we exist within this great spectrum of opposites? The answer lies in the law of vibration, the principle that determines our state of being and how we can shift between polarities at will. And that is what we will uncover next. If polarity is the structure of reality, then vibration is the force that animates it. The law of polarity reveals that everything exists along a spectrum of opposites: light and dark, expansion and contraction, abundance and scarcity. But it is the law of vibration that dictates where we exist on that spectrum and how we can shift between these poles. Polarity presents the extremes: hot and cold, love and fear, chaos and order. Vibration is the movement between those extremes, the oscillation of energy that determines our place on the spectrum. The power of shifting frequency. Everything in existence vibrates at a certain frequency, including temperature. Heat and cold are not separate forces, but different vibrations of the same energy. By increasing or decreasing the frequency, one transforms into the other. Emotions. Love and fear are not distinct entities, but different energetic states. A mind filled with fear vibrates at a low frequency, while a mind attuned to love operates at a higher vibration. Consciousness. Every thought, belief, and perception carries a frequency. The higher our vibration, the more we align with creation, abundance, and clarity. How polarity and vibration shape reality. Let's take an example: financial struggles. Someone vibrating at the frequency of scarcity will constantly focus on what they lack, reinforcing their position on the lower pole of the financial spectrum. They vibrate at the low end of the polarity, attracting situations that mirror that mindset. But the moment they begin to shift their vibration by focusing on gratitude, opportunity, and abundance, they move toward the higher end of the spectrum. This does not mean ignoring reality, but changing the frequency that interacts with it. This applies to everything in life, from emotions to success, from relationships to personal growth. The magician's experiment. Test this for yourself. Polarity and vibration are not just theories. They are forces you can test in your own life. When you feel trapped in negativity, consciously shift your focus to something uplifting and observe how your energy changes. When you experience fear, practice deep breathing and shift your internal vibration toward calmness and clarity. When facing a challenge, ask yourself, what is the opposite polarity of this experience? How can I align with it? True alchemy is the transmutation of energy, the ability to consciously navigate polarities and shift one's vibration at will. This is the secret taught by the great mystics and Hermetic masters, the ability to rise above polarity and become a conscious creator of reality. But there is one final piece to this puzzle, one ultimate truth that ties together polarity, vibration, and the hidden forces governing existence. That is what we will explore next. As Heraclitus once said, struggle is the mother of all things. The law of polarity is not just a force of opposition, it is the engine of movement, transformation, and growth. Without resistance, there is no evolution. Without contrast, there is no awareness. Every conflict, challenge, and opposing force we encounter is an opportunity to transcend duality and align with a greater truth, that we are not trapped between poles, but are the consciousness that observes and moves through them. The true power of understanding polarity is not about choosing one side over the other. It is about realizing that both are necessary and that we have the ability to navigate them with awareness. When we experience difficulty, we can choose to see the lesson within it. When faced with opposition, we can recognize the balance it creates. When emotions rise and fall, we can remember that they are not permanent. They are vibrations in motion. This is what the greatest spiritual masters have always taught: the art of neutrality and transcendence. The final secret of polarity and vibration is this: you are not just a participant in this dual dance. You are the consciousness behind it. You are not bound to the extremes of polarity, but have the ability to shift, harmonize, and transcend. The true alchemist is not a slave to emotion, but a master of energy. The true mystic does not battle opposites, but integrates them. The true creator does not react to reality, but consciously shapes it. Every moment you are given a choice: to align with fear or love, contraction or expansion, limitation or possibility. The Hermetic masters understood this truth. They knew that by mastering polarity and vibration, one could rise above unconscious reaction and become a true co-creator of reality. So ask yourself, what are you creating in your life today? Are you feeding the polarity of fear or empowerment? Are you choosing to align with creation or destruction? Are you allowing yourself to be pulled between extremes? Or will you rise above and become the architect of your own reality? Because the real secret of polarity is not about picking a side, it is about mastering the entire spectrum. Thank you for watching.